Welcome to episode I don't know what, and I don't care, of the Real Slim Sherri Show. I'm not going to keep track. We're just going to, whatever order you find this online is the order that it came in. Because I think we're on episode 4. I don't know, actually. And again, it doesn't matter. It matters in the description. It matters that I have to take my jacket off because I'm having a hot flash. Yay, me.
I feel like the holidays are just one big hot flash anyway, so.
They are. They are. Between cranking on the stove all the time in the oven and it heating up and you trying to keep a crackling fire going so it feels the ambiance of Christmas. Yes. Then on top of that, throw in menopause and you are just cooking all day. Cooking with grease.
And hormones.
And well, that's the grease. It's the lack of hormones that has you cooking. So anyway, it is post-Thanksgiving and pre-Christmas game right now. We have decided that this episode is going to be all about the holidays. Should I kick off with the PSA? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
You guys, I have a holiday PSA for everybody. We're just going to say the quiet part out loud this year, okay? Women are the reason holidays happen at all. Yeah, I said what I said. So ladies, listen up. Gentlemen, take notes. Kids, go to the kids' table. If women stopped for 15 minutes, Christmas would collapse like a folding chair under a drunk uncle. If you walk into a woman's house and the first words out of your mouth are, "What's for dinner?" Get out. Get out. Go stand in the yard and think about your choices. If you say you look tired, she is legally allowed to throw a gravy boat at you. If you bring nothing, do nothing, and then critique something, you are the reason she fantasizes about disappearing for 48 hours. It's probably in her Google history. If she's juggling, cooking, cleaning, wrapping, hosting, preventing a family meltdown, and you ask if she needs anything without moving your ass, congratulations. You are why she daydreams about fake amnesia. Okay? If you show up empty-handed and leave with leftovers, you are no longer a guest. You are a parasite with a to-go box. Please, no politics, no critiques, no grandma didn't make it like this. Grandma didn't have 3 jobs and a Pinterest board, okay? Men, if you are only contributing to the holidays by sitting your ass on the couch and waiting for instructions, just know she's imagining a peaceful life without you. And honestly, it probably looks nice. Ladies, if you disappear to the bathroom for 29 minutes to breathe and scroll TikTok, that is not hiding. That is survival. This has been your holiday PSA. Respect the women holding this whole shit show together or stay home. That's your Slim Sherri PSA for the holidays.
And I was actually going to make a video about this. I did make a video about, I know that our demographic is not new moms, okay? But if our demographic stays true to fan base being Gen X, here's what I will tell you. For those Gen Xers out there that have daughters, sons that are gifting you grandchildren, I know that they're not always looking for parental advice, right? And they actually might be at that age window where you didn't do this because they're like right in between when it actually happened. That fucking elf on a shelf.
That mother.
Here's what I don't understand. And it's funny because the author of that book is actually local to here, to where we live. Okay?
Oh,
we actually know someone that knows who the author is of the book. That's how this
They
started,
should
right?
be incarcerated. But anyway.
Here's what I don't understand and why. I understand the craze. I get it. But here's the thing. When we were growing up, we didn't need bribes per se.
Well, no, because you
However-
were threatened with
Right.
other things.
Right.
You would get nothing. You were getting coal in your stocking. There were no gifts.
Because Santa is frickin' watching, making his list twice, making sure that it's right. All of a sudden, because the kids couldn't see him watching, this fucking
Even
elf
though the
appears.
song says it, he sees you when you're sleeping.
Blind faith.
Lies. Kids, because you know what?
Blind
Our
faith.
parents were lying to us about everything. Okay?
I did
Everything.
not think my parents were lying to me about Santa watching. We took that shit real serious about no
Well,
one.
my dad told me there was no Santa Claus when I was 5. So but
This is
back to your
not
point.
this is not a trauma episode.
Back to the point is that we had no evidence, and we are definitely skeptics. Gen X are skeptical, and so we had no evidence of Santa. So what did we do when we became parents?
somebody's like, there should be some little asshole sitting on top of a shelf. And then apparently that wasn't enough.
And he should
He
report back to Santa every
he had,
single night.
which, okay, cool, fine. But then came the overachievers.
Oh God, the Pinterest, the amount of Pinterest boards that exist just dedicated to the elf on the shelf it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. We Gen X parents, I feel like we're the ones that like, did the crazy shit like elf looks like he's pooping Hershey Kisses or he's like being taped to a wall and held hostage by the little army men, you know what I mean? Then came the millennials. You guys just had to one up us, didn't you? You had to go all in on Pinterest with all this really crazy elf on the shelf shit that then made us look at ourselves and go, wow, we're kind of sadistic. We should do better. And here we are. Poor Gen Z. I hope they
They'll
kill
probably
him
burn
off.
the elf. Yeah,
Kill
they'll
him
probably
off.
burn him. But what I will tell you as a Gen X, if you are a grandparent and you have kids that are having babies and having starting toddlerhood, which is a whole different hood.
Toddlerhood.
I would
You are living in the hood with toddlers. Let me tell
I
you.
will tell you to, even though they don't want your parenting advice, I would say this: don't even think about the damn elf because you guys are locked in.
For
You're
how long?
locked in for at least 10 to 12 years, depending on how many kids.
Unless you tell your kid, like my dad did at 5, that he doesn't exist. But yeah, you're locked. You're locked and loaded. You can't just one year decide while they still believe. I don't know. The elf didn't come. He died. I don't know what happened to him. The kids, they don't get it. So they look forward to that. You build this like magical world for them when they're really little. And this elf shows up and they want so badly to touch this elf. And you tell them they can't touch the elf because if they do, he'll lose his magic. The lies that we have told our children, my God. But that he'll lose his magic and they don't want him to lose his magic, but they really, really want to touch him, but they also really, really want to be good so that the elf reports back to Santa.
Do you hear what you're saying?
I do. This is the life we live.
This is the control that begins.
And then I'm 53. Having little toddlers when I was in the thick of perimenopause. I'm now in menopause, but perimenopause, I had toddlers, okay? And I'm tired, okay? I'm just tired.
This is our first year free from that little fucker.
The number of times that it primarily, I'm going to be real. She's going to deny this, but real here. Primarily, I was the one moving that fucking elf. And eventually, when my first child turned 5 and my second child was 3, we decided it was a good idea to get 2 elves. That our elf needed a partner in crime. Each kid needed their own elf. Okay. They had names and everything.
Sam and Susie.
And so I was the one that would remember to move these fuckers. And the number of times that I fell asleep because I'm tired, because you just get tired in midlife. You're tired from parenting. You're tired from life. Okay. And would wake up in a panic because kids get up early, right? And you need to get up and move the damn elves before they recognize that those elves didn't move. And then the number of lies you have to make up when they discover the elves didn't move before you did. And so you're making up a whole bunch of other lies to cover up why the elf didn't move.
I think you need a video just on the elf.
It's ridiculous, the amount of panic that I had. The amount of cortisol that was released in my body from the panic of not moving those damn elves. And then the number of, how many letters I wrote?
Wrote the letters.
No, you didn't. I wrote the damn welcome letter and the leaving letter. All you had to do was make elf letters, like little notes
I would leave out notes with
out notes. Your notes, I had to write the welcome letters.
Because I didn't believe in that bullshit. There's no welcome letter. There's no leaving letter.
They expected it. Okay. They looked forward to the day that they were going to go back to the North Pole and they would get this letter and they got to hold these elves for a few minutes. And then Santa would lift their magic for a few minutes and they could hold them and hug them. And then they had to put them back where they were. And then they would disappear that night. They would go back to the North Pole. And then it was
into the Tupperware bin in the closet.
Fucking relief when I got to dump those little fuckers into a bin and not have to look at them for another 11 months. And so,
okay, how about this? All the parents out there that have new parent kids, you could actually just clip this part of the
Mm.
podcast and send it to them because they're not going to listen to you. We already know. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to be like, stop it. It's
Take
magical.
it from somebody who has experienced it, okay?
Just
I
being real.
raised one child without an elf on the shelf because he's older, and he turned out just fine, okay? And now these other 2, then there's the sadness, so the sadness that comes when they stop believing. Not just the trauma as a parent of your child suddenly discovering that Santa's not real, but also that their elves aren't real.
Well, and then that leads them down
Did you
the
lie to
black
me?
hole about everything.
Did you lie? Have you been
And
lying to me this
you know what
entire time?
always the first one is? Wait, so the Easter bunny?
It just starts to click
Honey.
into place, right? They're
Yeah.
like, "Wait a minute."
I'm
So and
like,
I think about the time that Lily, when she was very small, you guys, I don't even know if I can recall this story completely, but she lost a tooth, okay? She lost her tooth, and she was very little, I think 4, maybe 5 years old, and she lost that damn tooth that she was supposed to
in the
leave for the
car.
tooth fairy in the car. And this just so happened to be during Christmas season. So I had to summon not only the number of hoops that I jumped through to because I couldn't get the fucking tooth back. The tooth was gone.
It like if it was dropped in the car and like dropped into like because they're tiny, the crevice of the freaking seatbelt or
It's
something. That
still in
it
a
was
car
like it's
somewhere.
still in. We don't have that car anymore, but
Nope.
someone has a tooth and they're
A
gonna
baby
think it's
tooth.
from a dead body.
A baby tooth, and she panicked because she was freaking out that the tooth fairy wasn't gonna come because she did not have a tooth for the tooth fairy. So, I had to jump through so many hoops to write a letter from the tooth fairy, and the tooth fairy had to summon the assistance of all the other fake I don't even know what to call them, figures in her life. The elf came, the Easter bunny came, the tooth fairy, I don't remember, a whole bunch of them that allegedly ripped the entire car because I had to leave money under her pillow. Okay, I left money under her pillow so that she believed that the tooth fairy still came and I left this letter with the money that said that the tooth fairy heard her cries and summoned the help of all these other characters, and they came and ripped the car apart whilst we were all sleeping and found the tooth, and then, she left the money. The tooth fairy had what she needed. This is the kind of shit that you will construct to protect the lies that you have told your children, okay? And we carry on this lie, and I'm all I can hope I'm not gonna lie. All I can hope is that my children will carry on that tradition with theirs so that they understand what we went through to make their holidays magical.
Well, now you sound like a boomer.
What? What did you say? Boomers, let's be clear. And if for any boomers listening, this is not an attack on you. I'm just reflecting from my own experience with my boomers. They would never do that shit. Okay? They would have never, ever moved a God blessed elf every single
No,
night.
it's just the whole like wait till you have kids
No, I
and
just
I'm gonna
want them
laugh
I
when
want
they give
them
you a hard time, and
no,
I'm like,
I want them to carry on the tradition. We have kept Sam and Susie. We have these elves. We are going to pass them on. To make it worse, you guys, let me just make this worse. We then acquired 2 more elves later on. We had 4 elves. 2 that only came out at Christmas. The other 2 were their own personal elves that stayed all year long. They believed these damn things were real. And they were like cousins to Sam and Susie. Sam and Susie were brother and sister. Finn and Fiona were cousins to Sam and Susie, and they still have these elves. They still are in their bedrooms.
Reese took
Fiona
Fiona with
everywhere.
her everywhere until the moment she found out they weren't real.
Yeah,
And then I found Fiona behind her
just
bed,
thrown
stuck, and I was like,
aside. It's sad. It's sad. But
she's like,
anyway,
"Bitch, you aren't even real. Why am I
I've
hauling you
found
everywhere?"
Fiona in so many weird positions since then. But the number of times that I had to sneak Fiona away from her to wash her because she was so we had the plush elves, not like the little hard elf. The little plush elves, they're bigger, they're harder to pose, not gonna lie, harder to tape to the wall, harder to make them do shit that you want them to do. But I made it work. And the number of times I had to sneak Fiona, like while she was at school and throw her in the washing machine because she was so dirty and sad looking because they're made out of fabric. And she never knew. I don't know how she never knew. Like, how do you go to school and she's filthy dirty and then you come back? I guess she really believed she was real and was taking a shower while she was gone. I don't know. This is leading us into this podcast, which is why the holidays hit women different. Now I know that don't let me paint the picture that only women do Elf on the Shelf or do whatever. I know there's dads out there that do this shit too. Okay. But the holidays really do hit women differently. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah, because we're both women. So we can speak from a very authentic place. Women, I feel like, carry like the entire invisible load of the holidays. We carry the invisible load of life generally, like family life, but when the holidays come around, it like cranks up to like a 12 because you're trying to carry the load of like regular everyday life. You go, especially if you work and you have children at home and you're maintaining a house, you're maintaining a marriage, all the things that come with responsibilities of just home, right? And then the holidays come. And so you layer on all this added responsibility, all of the gifts that have to be purchased, all of the wrapping, the Christmas decorating, planning dinner, planning who to invite, Christmas cards, if you do those, which I do not because I despise them. I used to. But if I can't hand you a card
And
in
by
person,
you mean me.
if I can't hand you a card in person, it's not happening. It's never going in the mail. Okay. You're never, if you get a card in the mail from me with a postage stamp on it, you need to fucking frame it because, like, the world, something has happened.
If
Something
you
is
get
off.
a text from Sherri,
I text people on the holidays.
Returning a text from
I answer.
you.
What? Is this real life right now?
Okay. If you receive an email back
That might be true.
from Sherri,
Occasionally, I email back.
it has gotten so bad, I have to screenshot emails that I really need her to see and text them to her because I know she hasn't fucking read them.
I read some of them. Okay.
I actually
Well, this is a holiday episode.
I
Why
actually
are we talking about
don't
email?
even know how she's made it this far with everything.
I was talking about Christmas cards.
Okay, but you were talking about Christmas cards, but here's the other picture.
I will never email you a Christmas card.
Here is the other picture that I don't want our listeners to get, okay? That just because you're married to another woman, that it's rainbows and unicorns at holidays. Because it's not. Because it's still, we all have our strengths. So when she says that she doesn't send the Christmas cards, I sent the Christmas
We don't
cards.
send them. You don't send them every year either.
I don't every year. You're right. Because I've basically been like,
I don't
forget it.
send them because I don't want to. I never have.
I like
you
getting
send them
Christmas
because
cards.
you like it. I just was simply saying, I was admitting I am never going to send you a Christmas card. Okay. Not because I don't love you, not because I don't care about you. I just have zero desire to fill out Christmas cards, put stamps on them, and then stick them in the mailbox. And then why? So people can throw them in the trash after, because that's what happens to them at the end of the holiday.
I save a lot of ours.
Because you are a hoarder.
No, it's because I know the effort that was put to get everybody, plan the photograph, get everybody dressed, get everybody in the car on time.
Without
get
somebody
to
crying.
The fucking place to take said photograph. I understand how that all works.
Okay, the point of this is that women, whether you're married to one or you have one of your own, the expectation to make everything magical, whether that includes Christmas cards or not, it's stressful. The meals, the gifts, the vibe of the house, the decorations, the emotional stability for everybody else, while most women, while they're doing that, don't give emotional stability to themselves. They don't take care of themselves while they're taking care of all of that. So the expectation of making the holidays magical is it's a very high expectation, and a lot of women are overachievers. My point is that it's not an easy time of year for anybody, but especially for women. And so we're going to talk about that, why it hits us differently. Not that I don't want to paint the picture that men don't do anything. If I had a man around the house, he would maybe drag the Christmas tree upstairs so that we could put it together.
Instead, that's my job.
Because then I put it together and decorate the damn thing every year. Chris is like, let's put the Christmas tree up.
No, I'm not. I'd never. That was
you
not,
have.
I
in
have
the
not
past,
said it.
Especially when the kids were smaller. It's like, we need to put the Christmas decorations up. That meant I need to put the Christmas decorations up. But that is my role. Like she said, everybody has a role. Okay. That's my role. This year, I decorated that bitch all by myself. Usually the kids, they're now 11 and 14. They used to really want to participate and hang all of the ornaments in one place on the tree, and then I would go behind them and try to spread them out.
Which, by the way, I'll use the Mel Robbins line, because it will cause you
So
less stress.
let them,
Just let them.
let them.
And
I
then when
did, and
they
then I
go
would
to
go
bed,
behind them and I would
yeah, when they go to
relocate them.
bed or move on to a different activity.
Because they're only so tall, right? And they don't recognize, they just put them on wherever. But this year, nobody helped me put one ornament on the damn tree. And that was sad for me. That was sad. That's the other thing. We could talk about that too, of like women, especially at this phase of life, this age, if you will, especially ones that maybe are empty nesters or your kids are getting older and the magic feels different. It was sad for me when I put the tree up this year to not have the kids want to put ornaments on the tree or help me put decorations out like that. They used to be really excited about that. So that I think weighs on us too, like seeing our kids grow up and their expectations of the holidays change, especially once they learn. We probably should have started this podcast by prepping everybody. Don't have any of your kids in the room because little kids, because we're talking about Santa Claus. But, I mean, I think that really hit me this year. I wasn't prepared for that feeling of like, the kids not wanting to do that. Not that I didn't experience that with Justin at one point, I just don't remember it. It was so long ago. So going through that with the girls.
Well, don't worry, because they'll be down there to get all the damn presents from under the
Oh,
tree.
I know, but it's still just like hitting this phase with your kids around the holidays and how their wants and needs change, right? What kind of gifts they want, what their expectations are, how excited they get. Yeah, all of that changes. So, but what I want to say is that here's how I perceive our roles as women is that we're basically the unpaid interns of Christmas, right? We just do all of these things. We're like, but we're also like the project manager and then the janitor and we're HR and the person everybody complains to and the person that just tries to do all the things while, like I said, still maintaining like everyday life. It's the emotional labor that nobody talks about.
Yeah, it's a lot. And
I mean,
maybe
because
if
this one I will say, like Krista does most of the like gift shopping. Not that I'm not capable, I am. It's just I will buy way more than what she would be okay with. I just buy everything. If I go out to buy gifts, I come home with shit. She's like, they don't need that. I already have all these other things, and I'm like, well, but I wanted to buy it, and I get into trouble because that's a trauma response of me giving my children all the things I didn't have. But for you, it's remembering everybody's sizes, right? What their wants are, their preferences, what's on their wish list. Nowadays, we have made it easier. We used to write a list. Now they just put the shit on their Amazon wish list and send it to you.
But it's not even and honestly, it's not even just for our children. I know most women out there, I'm responsible for all of the in-law
Yeah, I was gonna
gifts.
say
I'm
everybody else
responsible
too.
for, all the nieces and nephews and knowing their size and what they're into and what they like to do. And
And who has allergies
probably
and
if you have a husband and he works at a corporate job, you're probably in charge of getting his secretary and his
oh yeah.
boss and all of those people.
Oh,
They're,
I remember when I worked in a corporate job and I had to buy, gifts for a boss or a
I used
coworker.
to do that for you a lot too when you
Fucking
were
white elephant parties and shit. I don't miss that. I don't miss that. Cool. Me and you should start having a white elephant once a year. That would be funny.
If you guys didn't see the AARP commercial of The Breakfast Club and where Sherry was casted as Ally Sheedy, she encompasses that
I
character.
do. I do. I do. I that's why originally they had me slated to be Molly Ringwald, and Kelly and I were like, "What?" Like they clearly don't know me that well. We're like, "You have this all wrong." First of all, Kelly was a cheerleader. Everything about her screams pink. Okay,
Everything about
screams
her screams Molly Ringwald.
Molly Ringwald. And so we swapped for obvious reasons, much darker, darker hair. Just I wear black pretty much my every day of my life. But yes, I did. I did feel very connected to that
So moral of
character.
the story is if you invite Sherry to a white elephant party or anything of the sorts, ugly Christmas sweater, or rap extravaganza, which we get invited to every year that she doesn't go to, she will not go. And as a matter of fact, she probably didn't even open the invite, especially if it was an email.
That's true. Listen, I was just talking to my therapist about this. We were talking about the holidays, and I was acknowledging that for many, many years, the holidays were, and still are to some degree, were always hard for me. Like if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't do the holidays. I don't think I would. And so I think I've come a long way in participating compared to how I used to be. But if I didn't have kids, I don't even think I would put a tree up or anything. I just don't need. That's why I'm like, yeah, all this. Not because I don't enjoy the spirit of the holidays. It's just that it was never like a happy time, really. So the holidays, I've had to really force myself as a mother to get into the spirit, to participate. And so, not that, and I have gone to some of I went to the wrap extravaganza last year. I helped wrap shit. Don't act like I wasn't there. I wrapped other people's presents. I did. We didn't even have any presents to wrap because we'd already wrapped all our shit.
No, I hadn't even started
So we
shopping.
we
That was
just
the
well,
problem.
whatever. We just wrapped everybody else's stuff, which was fine. But I'm just saying, like, we didn't even have anything to wrap. And I went. I participated and I was, you should give me a little kudos. I did go. But anyway, this isn't about me. This is about the holidays.
Okay, got it.
But back to the emotional labor nobody talks about. Yes, Krista has to remember all the sizes and the likes and dislikes of not just our own children, but of other people's children, her nieces and nephews.
Well, then if you're hosting, you have to deal with the allergies
That's what I
and
was
the
saying. Yeah, people,
preferences
if you're,
and the
which we haven't for a while. We used to host a lot more at the holidays. And so, yeah, and I do the cooking. So, yes, trying to remember who can have what. And just recently, like over just Thanksgiving, we went over to my mom's after we had Thanksgiving dinner at Moggie's, went to my mom's. And I had sweet potato casserole and some other stuff with us, a pineapple upside down cake and some ginger snaps. And one of the people that lives with my mom has a coconut allergy. And so naturally that I didn't even think about that until I was like, here, you guys want some of this? And then that came up. So you have to remember stuff like that. Who's a vegetarian, who has a gluten allergy? Because we were at Moggie's house for Thanksgiving. We had what, 3 vegetarians there and a vegan, right?
No, I think it was 3 vegans, 2
Wait,
gluten-frees, and a
who?
partridge and a pear
I only
tree.
knew the one vegan, Meg.
Well, Mogs and Pops are both
Moggs eats turkey on
only on
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
okay, but
but
either way,
So
Pops
Pops
and then
Pops Pops is vegetarian. I don't think he's not vegan. But anyway, regardless, and then you add me in there. So they made, bless their hearts, there were 22 people there for Thanksgiving. They made 2 separate meals. Okay. So they made a full Thanksgiving spread for all the carnivores. And then there was a completely separate set of dishes for the vegetarians and vegan. We had gluten-free options. We had vegan gravy and tofurkey and mashed potatoes that had no dairy and cookies with no gluten and no eggs. Like it had to be quite the undertaking for them to pull that off, okay? And so I much appreciated it because usually I go places and they don't really. I mean, I'm fine with the sides for especially for Thanksgiving, but usually most people are not kind of that thoughtful. Moggy and Pops were extremely thoughtful, and Brian and all of them. But anyway, not that any of you know who that is. But yes, trying to remember all of that kind of stuff and then so that those people feel included. You want everybody to feel included, right? In the holidays. So, meanwhile, while you're trying to make everybody feel included, you probably feel stressed out and tired and dehydrated because we don't drink enough water. I'm trying. That's also something I've been trying to do is drink more water. So drink your water, stay hydrated. I think that women treat their emotional piece like an afterthought, especially around the holidays.
well, and then I'm sure everyone has at least one time, if you have kids, had the conversation while everybody's in the car. First, you're bribing them, right? Like, if anybody so much as peeps a complaint once you get to this household, you will not see Christmas for 5 years. Or, everyone, I need you to remember that we're not mentioning Uncle Billy's dead dog from last.
Or his alcohol addiction. You are always trying to filter. You're filtering your children. You're telling them all the things not to say. Maybe even your spouse. Like, do not do
Bring up.
this or say that or bring up this. This is not the time to hash out whatever, right? What's really great are the years where you leave the house to go to somebody else's house for the holiday and you have a fight right before you leave. That's really great because we all know that happens. You're fighting over who did something that didn't get wrapped, something that
We're
spilled.
late.
So we're
Yeah.
late.
Why
I'm
didn't
always in trouble for us being late. I am always in trouble for us being late. I've been much better, but I usually am in trouble for that because it takes me longer to get ready than everybody else. Whatever.
and
And
she is a she's a procrastinator, get readier. So she'll be like, I'm having to text sometimes and be like, "Where are you? What are you doing? We
none
have
of
to
your
leave."
business. But no, it's so imagine, if you've been there where you like have a fight right
And then
before
you're
you're
walking
leaving
into the house like,
and it's awkward.
"Hi."
Yeah, it's awkward and you're not talking to each other.
Or the worst is when you've recently had an argument on a family text thread and you have to walk in the
You have to
house
go
and
see
see
all
them for
those
the
people.
first time.
This is why I'm not in any
It's like everybody has familyed for the first time ever
This
at the
is why I'm not
holidays.
in any family group chats. That except for the Gen X one. I'm not in no family group chats. I don't family group chat with anybody. Group chats they're a disaster waiting to happen. And this would be a great example of that. Like, oh, meanwhile, we just had this fallout in the group chat and we all have to see each other. That's great. So I'm the one that usually is the person that gets Krista telling me not to say something, not because I'm in a group chat, but like something's happened or she's told me something, be like, don't talk about that. Don't bring up X or don't say anything. And
Well, I have to with Sherry because she'll walk in and be like, "So, I heard your dog died. How was that for you?"
I would not say that. I would say, I'm sorry to hear your dog died. I would say that.
And then I would be like,
What we're
like,
trying
"We're
to say is
giving."
that this is the holiday rage that nobody talks about, right? Nobody talks
I
about.
think people do talk about it. I think people are now starting to talk about
I
it.
mean, we
But what
didn't.
we're trying to encourage you is that sometimes less is enough. Less is enough. And I will be honest with you and tell you that your life does not have to be a Hallmark movie because it really isn't. We all know that. And we all know that every family out there, especially in those first 2 weeks of December when everybody's still in school, and if you have a kid in elementary school, I will say that is one thing that I love going to see all the cute kids at the holiday Christmas bonanza bullshit. But now that my kids are in middle school and high school, we are free from those chains of bad Christmas carols. I mean, say what you will.
We're
I
not
am
free. I mean, they still do theater and there's
not at
sometimes still
Christmas.
school stuff.
But that's my point is that those 2 weeks before holiday, not only are you trying to get all the gifts and do all the things
Oh, yeah.
and plan
I
all the
remember that as a
whatever,
kid.
you're having to stop, drop, a roll into an elementary school thing that you were just told about the day before because it was changed and, by the way, it's at 7:35 AM.
True, true story. The number of times that I feel like that has been our life, where it's like literally you tell me like, "Hey, we have
Can
to go
you
to this thing."
freaking imagine, though, our parents?
They would know because they just didn't
They
come.
didn't show up to that
No,
stuff.
they didn't come. I kind of remember
There wasn't that stuff.
well, I was in choir, so yes.
Yeah, a choir performance and that was it.
We did do Christmas at the malls and shit. We had to go and they would put us on these, this assembled stage thing and we would have to go up there and sing in front of all these people. I think I remember one time my dad came and I think it's only because he had to drive me so far to get to the mall
That he wasn't gonna leave.
that he wasn't gonna leave because he would have had to come back. And it wasn't like there was a bus that could take me from there. Otherwise, I'd have been on a bus, taking a bus. So he had to say, I think that's the only time I remember. I might have been like in the 5th grade. And that's it. Nobody ever came to any of that stuff. None of my choir performances, my band performances. I don't remember any of that because they didn't. They were just like, here, I'll drop your ass off, do your thing. If they dropped you off, a lot of times I think they just stayed in the car. They didn't even come in. That just leads into, like, how did we get here? How did we get to where we are? Is that
We're overcompensating,
compensate
so we
up,
gotta be
overcompensating?
there
We
we
go to
gotta be there
every
for
single
all the
thing,
things.
every
But you know
single
what? The
thing.
kids are this generation's gonna grow up and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, my mom was at all the things, but she was a fucking train wreck."
Or they're gonna so I wonder if they're gonna overcompensate and be like, "My mom was at every single thing, and I didn't even want her there, so I'm not coming to all your shit." I don't
Nah,
know, because
nah.
nobody came to any of our stuff, so we overcompensated and we go to everything, feel obligated to be at everything, which I love seeing their performances and all that, but sometimes, like you were just saying, where you get, like, notified the day before, and Chris is like, "Hey, we have to do this thing," and I'm like, "What?" And
Well,
she's
and
like,
I mean, I honestly feel the worst, and I've said this from the dawn of time, is I don't understand how two parents that work in an office that is not remote, that they're going in or wherever, working wherever, where they have to go into an employment place from 8 to 5, how the hell do you expect these parents to accomplish this? And then we're not even going to get into discussion about single parents because we're
I
not
mean,
even.
I was a single parent for a long time with Justin, and I couldn't go to all of his stuff. There were many times I missed games of his, or I had to miss something with school because I had to work. And my job, I was on call all the time. So it wasn't like I had just a regular 9 to 5 job. So many times I couldn't be there. And especially at the holidays, because the holidays were like a busy time for me. I always felt mom guilt, heavy, heavy mom guilt for that. And I know you feel mom guilt now, even though we do everything with our kids. If we can't, like just came back from, was it Cancun
No, it
or
was
the
the
or the
Gen X. It
cruise?
was the cruise.
The cruise, and literally took an earlier flight out on purpose so we could be home because we'd missed their show the night before and wanted to catch the 2 o'clock show because they never have one show anymore. It's like 2 or 3 shows. And so Krista felt guilty that we were not there on opening night because we were still in the middle of the ocean. But anyway, the mom guilt thing is real. The holiday rage, again, all the things that you're trying to juggle. I think we want to talk about it because it's acknowledging, first of all, that you're not alone, right? You're not the only one that feels that way. You're not the only one that feels like I mean, I know how many times I felt like I was failing, even though I was not. I pulled off every Christmas. I pulled off every meal. I pulled off all the secrets of the holiday for my kids. I've managed to pull all of that off. And the mom guilt thing, I'm learning to sit with that more, that's a me problem, but that you're not alone, that you're not the only one, that feels that way. And it's okay to feel that way. It's okay as much as you can and feel like you're not failing while you're doing that. Because a lot of us do feel like I'm failing. If I didn't get this thing done, I'm not doing enough. My kids are going to hate me. These are the things they're going to look back on and remember. You know how much I remember from my childhood? I mean, I shouldn't bring that up because
Right.
okay, if I were my kid, here's the thing. I'm gonna paint this picture. I had a traumatic childhood, so I don't remember a lot. My kids have not. They have an amazing life, okay, at least from my perspective. Now I know them, I'm biased, I'm their mom, but they have a pretty fucking awesome life. They're gonna look back on their childhood and they're not gonna remember a lot of this stuff. That's just the truth of it. They're not going to remember a lot of it. You can make magical moments. You can go break your back to do some of the most incredible things for your kids. And the reality is sometimes they won't appreciate it.
Well, the reality is that you need to go into it knowing that you're doing it for yourself, really, to be honest. If we're gonna be honest. Like
Well,
you're
you
doing
are.
it,
You're trying.
and if you can grasp that and hold on to it and be okay with that, then you'll never regret or resent or feel bitter about doing it, right? There are some people that really enjoy doing all of these things. But with running multiple businesses, with you being on tour, with us being, both of our kids being extremely active in after school stuff and whatever and I know we're not the only family that is like this. It is hard to wrap all of those extra things into the already chaos of our life.
Well, and if, as you said, if you are a single parent, that can be even harder. Or if you're somebody who, thankfully, we're entrepreneurs, we have a little more flexibility. But when I had a corporate job, that was not a reality. I couldn't just drop and go whenever I wanted to. I often couldn't do that. I had to sacrifice being able to go to whatever this thing was or do whatever it is I needed to do. Often I was literally doing my Christmas shopping the 2 days before Christmas because that was the only time I had. And so I all of that. That's a lot to juggle. And a lot of times you feel like you're failing, but you're not. And the reality is that they'll be okay. Sure, there might be moments in their life where they'll look back and maybe there was something that wasn't as perfect as they wanted it to be. But the point is the magic of Christmas is not lost. The exhaustion that you feel is real. I think another thing that I really want to tap into, and I think this is somewhat really hitting on our age demographic that I think really feels at home, feels like I'm really hitting a spot that feels at home. Our generation was raised. Our moms were taught this by their moms. Our grandparents and our mothers passed it on to us, and that it's the belief that our worth is tied to how much we can carry without complaining. And I think that's a real thing. It shows up in more ways than just being a mom. It shows up in more ways than just the holiday, right? But especially around the holidays, I think this one really hits home for me that we somehow believe that our worth is tied to how much we can endure and never bitch about. Right, the we're j and then that becomes like expectations that we feel like were handed to us by somebody else and then becomes our own set of expectations. And then we feel like we're failing because we're not even meeting our own made up expectations. The truth is if there's some gifts under the tree and there's something, some food to eat at the holidays, if that's the best you can do, and even if you can't even do that, doesn't mean that Christmas is still not magical. It can be, and your worth isn't tied to how much you do, how many elves you move around the damn house, how many decorations you put out. There's been a couple of Christmases I can remember when Justin was small where the best I could do was put out a little mini tree. That was it. That's all I had in me. I was lucky. It was one of those you pull out of the box and plug in, that's it, because that's all I could do. I didn't have the capacity to do anything else. I was a single mom. I was working, burning the candle literally at both ends just to survive, and that was the best I could do. And you know what? He still had a great Christmas. He had gifts. I did get his Christmas shopping done, but my point is I couldn't do all the extra stuff. And sometimes Christmas dinner, if we had nowhere to go, was whatever I could whip up. And he never complained. He was always fine with it. I think that just remembering that some of the stuff I think that we carry this generation, and I think some even younger generations, it could still be getting handed down, is again that belief that our value, our worth is tied to how much we produce or how much we
Or
carry.
how magical Christmas could
Yeah.
be when sometimes it's just a matter of everybody being together, and sometimes it's okay if you're just maintaining status quo because that is all you can do. So, like, as magical as it could be, is just maybe even you guys sitting down as a family playing a game together, and then that's all if that's all you have in your tank, then that's all you have in your tank, and that's okay.
Well, and I think that leads into like the ability, I think that some of us struggle to say no, right? Like I can think of a number of times where I can't say forced, but encouraged, if you will, to host when I didn't have the capacity to do that. But I also didn't feel like I could say no. And I'm learning that I can say no. I'm learning that I don't have to host all the time. It's okay to be like, I can't do that. The number of years that Chris and I hosted while we were raising little kids, and it was so hard to like, you're navigating. At that time, I think I might have still been working even at my corporate job, navigating that and then also feeling obligated to host when you're like, I've got 2 little kids still in diapers or whatever. I'm just keeping my head afloat. Could somebody else make me dinner? Like, I think that it's okay to say no. And we need to not feel guilty for saying no because I know that we do. And it's okay to delegate that shit out to somebody else. I can't wait till my kids are grown up and I get to go to their house for dinner for the holidays. I can't wait for that. Not that they won't come home for dinner. I want that too, but I look forward to the day where I get to go and they make me dinner. Cuz neither one of them cook. Nobody cooks in this damn house. But anyway, I think what I'll hit on is I think that it's okay for women to also ask for help.
Oh, I think it's not even okay. I think it's a necessary so I have an actual story about this, that just happened to me the other day. So, I had to go to the UPS store, and it was Monday. So, it was Cyber Monday, so the Monday after Black Friday, which people holy shit. First of all, when I walked into that UPS store, I was taking in a lot of really big boxes because they were from Wholesome Hippie, which, by the way, is our sponsor. I didn't do a sponsor break for Wholesome Hippie. Anyway, we were sending a bunch of our product, which are our hand cut soaps, which make great Christmas gifts, by the way. And we were sending them to our shipper, and I had a bunch of boxes. Well, always go in there. I had to park far away and ask to use their hand cart. I go to my car, and this older gentleman that was parked like 4 cars up from me. He gets out of his car and he looks at me and he says, he like kind of yells because he was kind of far away. He was like, "Do you need any help?" Which I thought was really nice. But again, Sherry and I, 2 female household, we don't really have men here very often to help us with anything. We're always just used to, and I think this is a lot of women out there anyway, just period. We're just not used to accepting help, let
I
alone
think a lot of us
asking.
have
Let
the
alone
attitude,
asking.
"I'll just do it myself."
I can do this. I got it. I got this. It's a hand cart. Like I could. It's not like I was manually carrying them in. But he stopped after I said, "Oh no, I'm okay. Thank you very much." He stopped, started walking toward into the grocery store, and then he turned back around and he came back to my car and he's like, "No, I'm going to help you." And I was like, "Okay." Like he kind of forced it. So I was like, "Okay." He wheeled it all. I was like, "Well, I'm going all the way over there to UPS." And he was like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, "It's fine." So he was just talking to me, asking me like, "Oh, what's in the boxes?" And I'm like, "Oh, soap." Like whatever. And so we walk in and the UPS store was pure chaos. Like they do Amazon returns at this one. And if you could have seen the pile of the clear bags that were just all over the floor in behind their desk, I was like, "Oh my God." Anyway, the guy was super nice. Don't ever s- I remember one time where I had a side business making baby blankets when my baby was a baby. Okay. When Lily was 8 months old, 6
Yeah,
months
she was
old,
really little.
very little, right? I was going to the post office and I had her car seat in my thing. I had a mail bin. I had to make multiple trips into the post office to drop off stuff I was shipping out. Not one motherfucker even opened the door for me. So I'm literally sitting here struggling, holding, whatever. Anytime I ever see a mom with a stroller or a car seat or anything, even multiple kids in a grocery store, I'm looking around to see if there's anything I could possibly get for her, do for her, whatever, because I remember what it was like. But anyway, all that to say, this gentleman, that was a mighty good deed that he did for me. And I don't normally say yes to help. But what I will tell you is you have to delegate. And I know a lot of you out there that are probably like me, if you're a type A control freak, that, well, if I let somebody else do it, they're not going to do it right. Sometimes getting it done is good enough. Sometimes if the dishwasher isn't loaded exactly like you need it loaded, it's okay because the dishes are still freaking clean. So, why I will say somebody that doesn't often ask for help is delegation. Instead of a guy just sitting there or the husband or whoever sitting there being like, "Is there anything I could do?" Instead of, because that's my big thing is like, if you can actively ask me what it is that, is there anything I can do? You can actually just find something to do, right? It's kind of a pet peeve. But if you say, yes, you can actually set the table, delegate the damn jobs. You do not have to do everything yourself. And if you do have to do everything yourself because nobody's asking, then guess what? I guess no one's eating.
Right? So, yeah, back to me saying it's okay to ask you should ask for help. It's okay to admit you need help. It's okay to delegate when they
Because it's like
ask.
a 12-person job, dude.
Right.
Like, you're not a head chef at a freaking
Well, and
five-star.
here's the one thing I will say. If somebody asks you if you need help, just tell them what you need. Don't leave it open for, like, interpretation. Just tell them, like, "I need empty the dishwasher," or "Empty the sink," or whatever it is. "Take the kids outside." Whatever it is that you need, it's okay to say, especially if they're saying it's the one my pet peeve are the ones that don't ask. They just sit there and watch and then wanna say some smart ass remark about your attitude or whatever if you're pissed off because 'cause they're not fucking doing anything. If they ask you, Do you need help with anything or is there anything I can do?" Just tell them what you need. Don't even give them an option as a way out. Just tell them what you need. I personally don't I'm okay with not always, but a lot of times, don't even wait for them to ask. Just tell them, "Hey, you know what I need? I need you to take the trash out. Can you help me take the trash out?" You don't even have to be a bitch about it. But if they wanna be an asshole, then I will be. But it's okay to just tell them what you need. You get what you need. It helps take some of the burden off of you, and it gives them like a what would be the word? 'Cause, words are hard all the time. A sense of
Accountability,
a
responsibility,
I guess responsibility, accountability,
participation.
well, all that, because I don't know which word I was aiming for, but yes, all of that. I was gonna say, hopefully, they learn that you need them without being asked. That would be the nice thing if they just do shit without being asked. That I don't know how to describe that. I don't know what
And
word
one
I
last
was aiming
thing,
for.
gentlemen, I know this is a very much a gentleman thing, but if your wife and you are hosting, that is not the time to power wash the outside of the house. No one gives a shit.
Tell that to your dad.
No one gives a shit, dude.
Power
Yeah,
wash
my
the
dad
garage.
no one cares. That is not the time. That is not the time to repair the doors on the shed in the backyard that have been broken for a year and a half.
Right.
That is
That's not the day.
the time. Okay. We're not vacuuming the grass, okay, outside. That is not the help that they're looking for, just so you know.
This is true. And this comes from experience because that's exactly what happens. But anyway, I think we'll wrap this up by talking about what women really want for the holiday. What women really want is help. They want peace. They want space. They want to be able to breathe, maybe a nap, that nobody interrupts. They want to be able to take a piss by themselves if you have little kids, because your kids just come, Mommy, they're knocking on the door constantly. People who do things, they want family members that do shit without being asked. I would love if my kids would, you know how much it it lights me up in a good way when my kid just randomly is like, "Hey, I emptied the dishwasher without me asking." That is a very rare thing in this house, but it just lights me up. Like it's like, "Oh, thank you."
Thank you. Yes.
That it's just like
Man.
it's the little things. They also would like a damn day where they're not in charge. Just one day where they don't have to make a decision. They don't have to pull some string or do some heavy lifting mentally, emotionally. Kids are all of that. And so are spouses. So women don't, and that's, I can't say all women. Most women don't care about some big gift. Like I don't want a fucking television. Okay. I don't need a big diamond ring. So little things like those simple things of like just giving her a day off, quiet.
Again, I don't know if we have any men watching, but one of the biggest pet peeves I ever hear is when the mom is a new mom and in the thick of it, or even like a new mom or a mom of two kids, one's a newborn, one's a toddler, where they are in the night feeding, doing all the things, and then the guy just sleeps through everything and then had a full night's sleep and doesn't even get up in the morning to give her a little respite and a little care, because when I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when you don't get sleep, you get a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like that, like sleep is a necessity, especially postpartum. So they just sleep through and then they sleep through the morning. Like I could beat their asses.
We're not
myself.
saying all men do that.
No.
There are some good guys
Of
out
course,
there
of course,
that don't.
of course, of course.
But I can tell you that as a woman that happens to be married to a woman, when our children were little, and even now, getting them up for school, we share that responsibility. I couldn't nurse them because I didn't give birth to them, but I still got up in the mornings. I got up in the night. I got up and, to let her sleep. I still do when the kids have to get up because one of them is incapable of waking herself up for school. So I have to get up. I set my alarms. I get up. I know sleep is more valuable to Krista than it is to me most times. So I'm okay with letting her sleep in. Once in a while, I want the same. But it's recognizing that I was like, these are things that I can do to help take some of the mental load and the physical load off of her, especially if you have little kids. The little kids are hard. Even these teenagers, though, I got to tell you guys, the teenagers,
That might be our next episode.
they are
Raising teenage girls during perimenopause.
Yeah,
Woo!
puberty versus menopause or perimenopause, which we have. It is not easy. I have to look back now, especially teenage girls. I raised one kid already. He was a boy. It's a boy. He was easy. I remember him being easy as a teenager. The girls they might be the death of me. And I actually think that they were easier when they were toddlers. They were easier. They were sweeter. That's for sure. They were sweeter.
Maybe sweeter, but they were not easier.
They were.
It's just a different now. I mean, again, we can't get into this now, but it's just different now. It's like a lot more of my labor time because it's like having to go in the car and being driven 7 million places.
You're basically an unpaid Uber driver.
Right. And then also dealing with the fact that no longer can I put them to bed at 7:30. Now they're up later than me. So that little bit of quiet time you got, because our kids were in bed. And
oh, yeah.
at
That was the
7:30.
one solid rule is like, it's time for bed.
7:30 We were very structured with bedtime, and that was, where I really developed a habit of staying up late because, like, it was my only time.
Oh, yeah. I
So,
mean, you still do
8:30,
that even though
well, yeah, but I think it's just burned in my brain now, but, like, that 8 PM to 1 o'clock in the morning was my reset time.
I remember, us both. That was the only time we got like, quiet or alone time was after the kids went to bed, and then God forbid and my kids were never easy to put to bed either. Neither one. They still are not easy to put to bed as teenagers. They were not easy to put to bed, so you would get them to bed, and then one of those little fuckers would wake up. At least they can put themselves back to bed if they get up. Anyway, I don't know what our next episode is gonna be about. Maybe it'll be about teenagers, but I wanna wrap this up by just saying that, ladies, if you are exhausted right now, as we approach this holiday season, it's not because you are weak. Okay. Just remember that. It is not because you're weak. It is because you are trying to do the job of 12 people, of Santa, of all his elves. You're trying to do the work of a lot of people. And that's why you're tired. It's not because you are failing. It's not because you're not doing enough. It is because you are trying to do too much. So take care of you.
It's okay to say
It's okay to say no. For anybody spousal out there listening, whether you've got a wife like me or you have a husband or whatever. If you are the spouses that are listening, if you heard anything from this, it's this. Help your partner. Help your partner during this holiday season. Don't wait to be asked to help. See that they have a need and fill it. Don't wait to be asked. Be part of the magic, not part of the problem. How about that?
don't be another child on the list.
Because that's what most spouses are. You're just another child for me to manage. You just maybe don't pee your pants. Or maybe you do. I don't know. But
Never
that,
know.
that's for another 20 years from now, Krista, when we start peeing our pants. We've been together 20 years. So in another 20 years, maybe we'll start peeing our pants. But for now, I manage my bladder just fine. Anyway, happy holidays, everybody, however you celebrate. And yeah, I never even thought about that for all the people listening that maybe don't even do Christmas, that whatever the holidays are for you, whether that's Christmas, it's Hanukkah, it's
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate,
Festivus for the rest of us. The
Festivus for the
Festivus.
rest of us.
We're going to
Yes.
air our grievances. I do think that we should. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine this day and age having that Seinfeld episode? Because that's what they do is first thing they do is they air their grievances. Can you
Oh my
freaking
God.
imagine?
It would be ugly.
911 would be very busy.
Yeah, it would be ugly. Anyway, whatever it is you celebrate, we hope that you have a good holiday, a peaceful holiday, a magical holiday. And yeah, that's all I got. Peace out. Till next time. Bye.
Sherry, what do you say? Real Slim Sherri Show.